People, Deluded, I'm back again. Now on Monday, next week will be the first of our two games against Liverpool. We've got them on Monday in the league. I'm not going to say both teams are going to throw away the League Cup game, but to a lesser extent, we've got them on Thursday. And you can imagine, Klopp definitely don't give a crap about the Carling Cup, so he will definitely play Harvey Elliott. And, you know, Curtis Jones is pushing even to be in contention with the bigger games, you know, him and the rest of them, and Joe Willock and that from Arsenal probably get game time, you know. But it's the first of two big games. For me, it's a big test. Big test in the sense of whether we win against Liverpool. Not that we haven't beaten them in the last two fixtures. It shouldn't draw any conclusions. And I don't think you can, you know. There's been good isolated incidences. When we drew against Chelsea at the Bridge, you know, when we lost to Chelsea at the Emirates, yes, fundamentally game management and not conceding cheap goals and silly mistakes at the time cost us, but we did well in those big games. The victory over United, in fact, even the draw against United, Lundberg might have still been in charge. Obviously, in the FA Cup, you've got the Chelsea game, the City game, and your Community Shield against Liverpool. There's been incidences where Arsenal players, you know, you've got to give the players credit, because when they're doing rubbish, we mention the players, so when they're holding it up and whatever game plan Arteta is giving them, they're listening to it. So there's been a bit of an improvement. There is a tiny bit more of a grit. There's a bit more determination. There's a bit more fight. Of course, we're not all the way there yet. And so what I'm saying is we've won those games and nobody's drawn conclusions from Arsenal. So if we lose, I don't think we should draw conclusions. But for me, it's all about the performance. It's our first big test. It's our first top six game. You know, if Liverpool win, not that I want them to win, not that I'm saying accept defeat, but walk away from that field with your integrity still there, with your pride still there, where it's a thing where you can say, all right, you know, Liverpool, they're the league champions. They proved today why they're the league champions. You know, Mane's quality shown. You know, Firmino's quality shown. Salah, Thiago now in that squad that could be thrown into that. These are the things I want to see, people. These are the things I want to hear, you know. Not that I want to lose. It's all about credibility. I don't want to be getting hit for cricket scores, you know, because half the time when we have lost by what I call cricket scores, not that they are, like these 5-1s and these 4-1s and these mad fixtures that we have, you know, been a victim of at Liverpool. It's not, Liverpool have been quality and their players have been quality, but it's been what I call cheap goals. It's like we're gifting it to them. We're not making historically, we haven't made ourselves hard to break down and tough and all of those things sort of thing. Historically. Now in the last two games, I think if we're going to do anything, it's got to be that high press, you know. Liverpool's, I think, I don't know what it is, but Liverpool have some quality defenders, but these last couple of games, even off the back towards the end of last season, there's been a couple of times that defence has been guilty of lapses in concentration, and I don't know if it's because they're complacent, I don't know if it's because they're dominant in possession, but, you know, Van Dijk, he's human, he's allowed one lapse in concentration because he patterns it up, but can we capitalise on Van Dijk, on Trent being caught flat-footed? If Joe Gomez is thrown in, he's just fit, can we capitalise on that? You look at our last two games, you know, the Community Shield one was a bit different, it was a bit more open, I felt you could see Liverpool scoring, but our high press kind of presented them issues, definitely more so the game at the Emirates. Yes, it was ultimately a mistake by Alisson and Van Dijk, and how often do they make them on a rare moon, the sort of blue moon sort of thing, and we were the ones that they happened to do it against. But it's because of our pressing, you know. Can we press them high? We know what we're going to get against Liverpool, people. It's not an open book, because I'm full of admiration for Liverpool. I think if you look at how Liverpool have developed under Klopp from, you know, when they first started looking like league champions to now, you know, they defend better, their game management is better. You can't not love this Liverpool side, people. You know, for me, I'm going 3 at the back purely because I want us to be tough to break down again, man. Can we do that 3-4-3? Obviously, you've got our defenders, our fullbacks who are midfielders technically. Can we just get men behind the ball and defend from the front? Aubameyang, go and defend. Right back, go and defend. Because this is what's going to happen, people. You're going to end up having Thiago at the base. You're going to have their fullbacks and they're going to be playing a high line. And we know what to expect by Liverpool. We're not going to dominate them for possession. We don't have the personnel to do it. But what we can do is be difficult to break down, is be resolute, is work for each other, is close the gaps, is follow runners. And like you saw for the goal we scored in the Community Shield when Aubameyang tucked in off the right against Nico Williams, go forward, play some football, you know, play out from the back, do not be scared. But me, I'm going 3 at the back in this game anyways. But we know what to expect. I'm doing it a bit early, but for me it's Mane. Now if I remove Firmino for a second, people, and focus on Mane, you know Mane's a savage. You don't want to go down the flank with Mane. He can present issues. You know he can cut in. You've seen him do it, you know. You know he'll chase lost causes, as Kepa saw against them at the Bridge. You know, if Chelsea didn't go down to 10 men, it could have been a different game. But end of the day, you saw what Liverpool were on in that game. It's this run. Now, I can't remember it exactly. I think Henderson passed it, and Henderson won't be part of the game against us. But if you remember, and again, I cannot be right, and I'm not even sure if it was Mane, but I'm sure it was. Henderson played a lovely pass, and it's a lovely pass. It was a fantastic pass. People don't think he's got it in his locker. But it's the run. It's Mane's run that led to Christensen breaking him down. Follow your runners. That goes for anyone on either side of the back three, sorry. That goes for fullbacks. Because if he followed the runner, maybe there's not a red card there. Midfield, can you see Mane about to run and go and press that? Runners, people. Because even if you go back to the game probably 2 years ago, I think when James Milner scored, both him and Mane made late runs and scored. We need to be careful. If I remix this for a second and go back to how it was, people. The midfield, we can't not speak about Liverpool's midfield. That's why I'm going 3 at the back, because we just have more strengths in numbers. We know Liverpool have the dynamism on us. We know they're more mobile than us. We know all of these things. Before I get into that, it's boring speaking about them, but the 2 assist creators, you know, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson, stop the early crosses. And that's why it's crucial for Aubameyang to actually play on the left, because Trent might have to think about going forward. You know, they'll play early crosses. They'll play balls in behind for their wide men. So pay attention, you know. Salah will come off this flank and play as an inside forward. So be careful, you know. We saw last season at Anfield, what happened? I can't remember if it was Kolasinac or whatever, but one of them was caught out here. You don't want to go against Salah in the flanks. David Luiz was pulled out. And you saw, I'm pretty sure it was a red card or whatever happened in that game happened. We know how their fullbacks are. And that's probably why I'm happy to see Aubameyang on the flanks in games like this. It gives Trent something to think about. You know, Pepe's not started the season brightly, but maybe Pepe on the right. It gives Robertson something to think about before going forward. You know, we need to press their fullbacks. We need to frustrate them, you know. On one hand, I don't necessarily want to press them aggressively. I more so want to just hold our shape, people. And I'll show you that what I mean by that in just a second if I just fix up the team. Apologies, people, to make it a bit tighter. It's easier for you lot to see and comprehend. Now, for me, obviously, I want to press them. You know, you give Van Dijk time on the ball, he's gonna play them superstar passes. Robertson and that, you know, you don't want to give him time. You know, you want to press them. Let them beat that first press if they have to. If they beat that first press, then you want to see our fullbacks aggressive. You want to see our fullbacks aggressive. You want to see our midfield aware and support them and create 2v1s and put the fires out. But at the same time, people, I don't mind if we just do this. Let them play. Let them get out. Let's hold our shape. Let them get out. When they come into certain areas with the ball, then you press. But let them play. I don't mind that, because it is a game where I'm expecting to remain penned in and remain, you know, we've got to concede possession and take advantage, sort of thing. The midfield now. It's looking a bit wonky for me, people. I'm a bit of a neat freak of sorts as much as I can. So let me just fix that up. Just don't know why I prefer a flat midfield three from Liverpool. But it's the midfield battle. Now, that's where playing 5 at the back, 3 at the back is going to come in handy. You know, I'd probably go Tierney at centre-half and play Mark Maitland-Niles there, because he does quite well against Salah. Not that I want to jinx it or anything, people. But that's what I mean. But the midfield, now, I would play Fabinho centre-half, because I know Gomez has just come back from injury. I'm not too sure Matip's fitness. I'm not too sure. Personally, I think Fabinho is an underrated player in that Liverpool team. Obviously, he's not going to score the goals like Mane and Salah. He's not a working-class hero of sorts like Henderson. But I think he's a brilliant player. You know, he can lock it down in midfield. He can play defensive mid. He can play as part of the pivot. You know, he can do a job at right back. And I think centre-half, at least until they buy one or people get fully fit, is a thing for him. I think they play Fabinho, and I would go personally if I was Liverpool. Not that my opinion as an Arsenal fan matters. In any order, you know, you got Wijnaldum, Thiago, and Keita. Now, I probably expect them to set up like this: Thiago to go into that 6. Do I need to tell you about Thiago? You saw the stats he broke in 45 minutes, so imagine 90. He can do the simple things. He can do the complicated things. He'll retain possession. You know, stopping him is a big part. He's almost press resistant. But if you could stop him, you have half a job. But what I expect is him to get into these roles. taking it off his centre-halves, dictating play with his other midfielders, spraying the passes. I expect that from Thiago to a degree. You know, you want our strikers to not allow that, you know, don't allow it to get into him. Can we even do a thing where, you know, you let the centre-halves have it, you just cut out Thiago, like what we used to do when we played Chelsea and we kind of lock out Jorginho? Can we do that? That's something for Arteta to think about. But I play Thiago it's a flat midfield, but I think Thiago just naturally wants to be onto the ball. You've got Keita, who should, you know, him and Keita could switch, to be fair, and Thiago could be in areas where he's more likely to break the lines. But I just think Thiago's maturity is at a different level. And I think when the team, not that he's played too tough for Liverpool, but generally when the team is just running through Thiago, they play 10 times better. So you've got Thiago, you've got Keita, who's coming into his own, a very good technician. I think them two will get the best out of each other in that game. And you've got Wijnaldum, who, when I describe Wijnaldum, I think of energy, box to box, you know, putting out fires defensively, running in behind. Now, he's got technical ability. Don't let me underestimate him, you know. He's probably got as much tech as them, not really, well, not Thiago, but able to hold it up, but he's not known for that. So, you know, you've got a ball controller, sort of someone that can dominate possession. You've got the box-to-box element, again, follow your runners, and you've got Keita. The midfield is crucial. Like I said, can we get this man out the game? Can Ceballos out of possession press and then can concede it, because we've got our back three that we don't necessarily have to man mark in midfield. But shutting out that midfield is going to be crucial, and I don't know how we do it. I don't even know if it's going to be that midfield. I'm just taking calculated guesses because I don't feel Fabinho should be moved out of centre half. You know, we need to take advantage. We need to. There's also gaps, people. Occasionally, you can see Van Dijk and Trent. There is gaps open on a regular basis. I'm sure Liverpool fans would say, as perfect as they were last season, the goals they did concede or the nervy moments, they were poor, and you could see Trent and Van Dijk on a couple of occasions get vexed. Robertson the same. Take advantage of these gaps. If Trent Alexander-Arnold isn't going to learn the lesson from Nico Williams in the cup final, you know, let's do that. Because Aubameyang's going to be crucial to this game. To me personally, you know, I'm looking at Aubameyang defensively because I'm respecting Liverpool a bit too much based on the fact that they're league champions. But we need to do what we can, man. I would go 3-4-3, 5 at the back, however you want to call it. Suffocate the midfield, you know, get bodies behind the ball, you know, close the gaps, follow runners, just be resolute and tough to break down. And like we've seen, you know, when the opportunity presents it to counter or build a sustained move of note, take it, exploit Liverpool and go and take it. It's going to be a difficult game, man. Liverpool aren't, you know, they're the league winners. You can't. But for me, like I said, stop the early crosses, follow the runners, you know, win the midfield battles. Everybody should want to win their individual battles and you'll be cool. For me as well, away from all the tactics, it's all about integrity. Can you leave that field with some common decency? Don't get hit for no cricket line. Don't allow Mane, Salah and these lot to get more Premier League highlights based off you. Because when they all both call it a day and leave Liverpool, leave the Premier League, when you throw up their highlights reel, they've scored bangers against everyone. But I'm more than not, there's probably there's a couple of good games from Mane and Salah at Arsenal. So don't let them add to that sort of thing. It's as simple as that, man. I do think also we have to be brave. You know, you can't sit back for 20 minutes, for 90 minutes, sorry. We ain't got the personnel to do that. We ain't got the ability to do that. Go and present Liverpool with issues. You know, they conceded 3 goals against Leeds. Leeds let themselves down at set pieces, and it was Liverpool's first game of the season. But go and get them. Now their second game, big game, 2-0, 3 points. But if it stayed to 10 men, would Chelsea have lost that game? I don't know. I still think they would have, but I don't know. So there's question marks. You know, Liverpool aren't perfect. You know, they've kind of had I won't say they fell off towards the end of the season, but it looked a bit shaky by their own, judging them by their own high standards they set. You know, and it's kind of carried on this year. It happened in the Community Shield. There was a bit of a dodgy game at the beginning against Leeds, fair play. So I'm not saying they're a poor side, I'm not saying there's question marks, but is there cracks in their armour right now? Is there, you know, is there an element of complacency? You know, is there a bit of not match fitness? Is there any sort of thing we can exploit? We need to look at doing it. It's as simple as that, you know. But from a tactical point of view, that's all I expect. It's not like we don't know what Liverpool have been doing, you know. I'm sure all eyes will be on Thiago. You stop Thiago, you have half a chance, but there's 10 other dangerous players, you know. Alisson can set up a goal even, you know. He can set up a goal from a goal kick, you know. Mane, you know, him knowing where he is and him running at you is one thing, but it's off the ball when you cannot see where Mane is scary. You know, we need to double up against Mo Salah. You can't underestimate Firmino's contribution despite the lack of goals. He'll drop deep and get involved. They're a good side filled with good players. We've played them in the last 2 games and won. Let's try and make it 3 times lucky. Hopefully we can win twice in a week. Probably not. at a push, I'd concede winning in the league, of course. You know, let us win in the league, Liverpool. You lot win the League Cup, man. You lot are probably going to have a better season than us anyways. But I've got nothing more to add, man. On that note, it's always a pleasure, but I'm going to get out of here. Deluded.